Eve, many people have fun and make resolutions. To end 2023, I was having none and making revelations. It was well before midnight. It was actually a late dinner, and my friends and I were at a restaurant. I looked up and noticed none of us were talking to each other, and we were all on our phones. Rather than seizing the moment and taking on the real world, my friends were swiping, liking, and laughing, each in their own bubble. In all candor, I wish I could tell you I was not stuck because of self-control, but the real world is what brought me out of my stupor. My phone ran out of battery. But that eureka moment is why I am here to talk to you about social media. How many hours a day do you think the average teen spends on their screens, be it a phone, tablet, laptop, or PC? There are 24 hours in a day. Most schools are 7 hours long, and that does not account for extracurriculars or study time or travel time. And teens sleep. Not enough, but teens do sleep. According to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, most teenagers sleep for about an average of just 7.4 hours per night. According to ABC News, teenagers spend an average of 8.7 hours on screens daily, which is over 60 hours a week. There's no shortage of irony that social media has actually hindered the social skills of youth. Teens can find niche groups online that reinforce their worldview rather than force critical thinking. Such echo chambers only validate moving away from those who are not in your line of thinking. Furthermore, psychologists point out that an over-reliance on digital modes of communication, including the use of emojis and ghosting, can impair the development of critical interpersonal skills. These skills, essential for managing real-life conflicts and building empathy, rely heavily on nonverbal cues like body language and vocal tone, which are absent in online interactions. Social media and information technology are not all that bad. These tools can allow us to communicate with others around the world and access more information than we could ever imagine. Yet, for all the wonders of the information age, it is the aged who have been left behind. According to TechCrunch, 1/3 of adults 65 and older say they have never used the internet, and half don't even have internet access at home. Mastering digital technology has become a key component of what it means to fully participate in society. An 80-year-old participant of the Tech Allies program painted a somber picture. We feel like we're standing outside a building that we have no access to. I'm just not part of this world anymore. Some things just are not possible if we're not in the flow of the internet. If we do not provide this, older adults in particular, the risks associated with social isolation are profound. Loneliness among older adults have been associated with depression, cardiovascular disease, functional decline, and death. The elderly can find online support groups for people who share similar medical conditions and engage with the outside world through news, blogs, and email. Technology can serve as an important tool to reduce these risks, but only if we provide older adults with the skills that they need to access our digital world. I gave you two problems at the opposite ends of the age and screen time spectrums. And to solve those problems, I offer you three solutions. The first two directly mitigate the problems, but the third offers a synthesis that can help us be a generally happier society. The direct address to the first problem is the need to make screen time overuse much more publicly discussed. If I came in bright red from being in the sun too long, people would be shocked and ask me if I'm all right. They would kindly remind me of sunscreen and protecting myself. Too much time online is not going to give us skin cancer, but it is rotting our abilities. If someone is averaging 8.7 beers a day, we would call that person an alcoholic. At 8.7 hours a day, the average teen is a social media addict. Other than the rarity of being an influencer, so much screen time makes income earning less likely. We must make the internet more easily accessible for the elderly. Just as we're trying to wind down teen use, we should try to reach out for more use by the elderly. For the elderly in retirement homes or members of senior centers, that screen time number can work as well. The difference is that if you're in a senior facility where nobody uses the internet, this is a problem. Online communications, news, and entertainment and more are reasonable expectations for the elderly. And if a facility is not providing these, data will show how abandoned such seniors are. As for seniors who live away from such facilities or live in an intergenerational home, the public discussion of screen time will serve as a social pressure to encourage wider adoption of internet use by the elderly. So those first two steps were opposite sides of the same coin. Better use of screen time data. You want to bring down the teen use, and we want to bring up the elder number. It is the final part of the speech that I'm most excited to talk about. Tomorrow ambassadors. Teens should be assigned to work with the elderly. Loneliness is a tragedy that can be solved. We can crowdsource the problem of elder loneliness to teens, and in so doing, we can give teens greater interpersonal skills. How would this work? One can imagine a teen interested in the military being partnered with a veteran, or a social justice warrior being partnered with a civil rights protester. Pairing could be as basic as both people sharing a fandom for a sports team or celebrity. The goal is not to create real-world echo chambers, but to start off with those first two puzzle pieces coming together. We all have something in common, and those bonds can be the start of a genuine connection. How will this benefit teens? Teens get to see the real-world impacts of their efforts through these human-to-human communications. Smiley faces will not just be for emojis, but the greetings one gets when arriving to meet their cross-generational friend. Let's be honest, teens worry too much about how they're perceived, especially by their peers. This is far less of a problem when with the elderly. A love for Hello Kitty might not be cool at school, but being partnered with a senior who also loves Hello Kitty can be perfect. How will this benefit the elderly? Having visits from young people is life-affirming. The world's not just out there, but coming here to senior housing. Not only will the elderly feel and be less lonely, but the bonds will not be superficial. By partnering with people with shared interests, there's a far greater chance of success. Furthermore, the elderly can learn about how to make better use of the internet and learn other trends from the youth. Wisdom is not one way. Yes, the elderly can teach teens, but teens have much to teach as well. In conclusion, equilibrium is here. Youth have excess social media literacy, but need time to socialize. Elderly have plenty of time to socialize, but need social media literacy. It's Econ 101. Each stakeholder has an excess of what the other stakeholder needs. So the problem of one becomes the solution of the other. Don't forget to like the solution and hit subscribe to commit. Thank you.